for the past 15 years. I have been building my business through relationships, and I am very grateful for people like you who met me through Instagram or someone else refer you to me, and then we connect and you trust me with your referrals, and we were able to find a beautiful house for Jose and his beautiful wife and their kids. Such a beautiful family, and I feel that we have created such a beautiful relationship throughout the process. I follow up throughout all those 18 months and being patient with them. Like when they came to me back 2 years ago, they wanted to rent, and because of course they were moving from California and they needed a time to get to know Miami. And instead of me pushing them into buying something at that moment, I opened the space for them to make the decision that better suit them at that time. And at the end, when the time was right, I was there for them, and we made it happen. And they are very happy. The house has exactly what they needed and what they want.
You're listening to the number one real estate podcast in the world. We talk with real estate professionals all across North America, but their wins, losses, lessons, and stories help you win in your local market. Today, my name is Cody from Sheridan Street, joined with Vikram Deol of the Real Estate Sales Academy. I am coming off a long flight back to Medellin, Colombia. It was a red eye.
Is it long flight because you were pissed drunk at the lounge, or is it a long flight because it was a long flight? Because, bro, you were triple fisting glasses of wine, and when I saw you drinking wine, I'm like, Cody's pissed drunk because he hates wine.
Yeah, it's you gotta live life a little bit.
I'm not mad. I'm just laughing.
When life offers you free wine, you don't say no. Especially
I
free.
offered you a lot of free. I offered you a lot of wine in my life. You've never drank it. Nice wines.
That's
good
not
wines.
very true. That's not very true. We've shared a bottle of wine at Cambalache here in Medellin, Colombia. We've
recently.
Well,
that's why when I saw you drinking wine, I'm like, this dude's snockered. He's drinking the free wine. He is drinking the free wine at the cabinet right by the bathroom. He's just chugging that down. I'm like, because he doesn't drink wine ever.
I'm like, I was at a point. It was a very good wine. I'm like one of those guys that every once in a while, I get into a nice bottle of wine, and whenever I see a Cab Sav, I'm always, interested in what it tastes like. But I like free wine. I'm not going to complain. Yeah. Free airport wine is the best wine.
Well, where in the hell were you traveling? Where in the hell were you traveling to that you were in the lounge and getting snockered by yourself on a red eye?
Well, it's a red eye flight, so you gotta find a way to sleep on the way home. But we were in Ojai Valley, speaking at the Hardcore auction event. So you were there, I was there. We had the opportunity to jam with a bunch of cool brokers, doing some cool things all across the world. It's really, really, really cool group. Shout out Ben Brady for having both you and I. He's been on the podcast before. Just
great episode too.
Yeah, ton of fun. They're doing some really cool things in the auction space, offering just a very different approach to real estate. So, just really, really appreciate those guys. Really appreciate that brokerage for bringing us in to kind of chat with their agents and their teams about how to do effective marketing and how to do effective sales. It was fun, man. It was fun hearing you speak. I had the opportunity to chat about 7-figure lead gen and just kind of look at things a little differently when it comes to marketing online. So it was a ton of fun. But you're still in Bakersfield, right? Like you're still back home, coming back to Medellin soon?
Still back home, yeah. I'm in. You guys, if you're not watching YouTube, you got to turn on the YouTube because I'm going to show you. Like, look at that TV, bro. Look at that TV built into that is an original 1990s TV built into the cabinet. And then this is the exercise or the bonus room. So this was my addition to the bonus room. Actually, my brother and I were in India when my parents built this house, and I like anything that has wheels and goes fast, or anything that goes fast. And so my addition in here is the train on the top of the bonus room. So when my parents built this house in the 90s, it was between this neighborhood and a neighborhood that was like, back in the day, it was the sticks. And I was like, buy the sticks. Let's get horses and ATVs and motorcycles. And my parents were like, we are not farmers. We are not country. We we live in Bakersfield, but we're not Hicks. Like, we are not moving that far away from everybody. Like, nobody will visit us. And now that's like that where they would have bought and had a couple of acres, which probably now it's good because I'd be exhausted. It's like normal, but this little room right here is a blast from the past, untouched since the 90s. So yeah, man, Harcourts was awesome. You know, like, before we jump into bringing on our guest, I had an opportunity to talk to, somehow or the other, I got into the awards dinner for the company. And during the awards dinner, I talked to, because a lot of the people that were at the event are franchise owners.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest challenges that everybody has, so I'll break it down to you what I see in the world of business. And I think it's universal to all business, not just real estate, but it definitely pertains to real estate. Brokers need appointments with agency owners, brokerages. If you're with Real or EXP or one of these cloud-based, everybody needs appointments, right? So brokers are looking for agents. Agents are looking for buyers and sellers, right? So everybody's looking for the same exact thing. And I think a lot of people are confused as to why people come to them. And I want to unpack this in this podcast because I think we have a great guest for that. But in my vision of the world, one of the challenges that most people have is that they don't have good onboarding, which then creates havoc, and it creates stress and anxiety and confusion. And people are trying to solve for the problem that they think the people are coming for, but not the problem that they have. And the reason why an buyer is out there is because they're looking for a seller. A seller is looking for a buyer. They're not looking for the house. They're looking for the person that will sell them the house. And in the world of recruiting or agent attraction, a agent is looking to a leader for the training so that they can do more deals, not make more money. And if we start to think about it, well, how do we help them do more deals instead of how do we help them make more money? I think the perception, and Sharon and I had this conversation years ago, but I think the perception of how you onboard people change. And so, yeah, I'm excited to hear what everybody's thoughts on this, because we've all run teams, had teams, dissolved teams, did a lot of things with teams. So I'm excited to bring my friend in from Florence, Italy at the moment. Luz, what's going on, my friend?
Hi guys. Well, I'm here in Florence. I'm a real estate agent in Miami, Florida. I have a real estate broker there, Miami Realtors. But I took 3 months to be here in Florida, to be here in Florence and live a different life. So let's see how it goes.
Love it. Well, let's jump into it. Yeah. So actually, we've done business together. You actually worked with a friend of mine that you were patient with them for the course of, I don't know, maybe 12, 18 months, where it's a great follow-up, really great service. They're great people.
They are amazing people. We have such a beautiful connection. And that's my business. Like, that's exactly what I have been doing since, I will say, for the past 15 years. I have been building my business through relationships, and I am very grateful for people like you who met me through Instagram, or someone else refer you to me, and then we connect, and you trust me with your referrals, and we were able to find a beautiful house for Jose Perez and his beautiful wife and their kids. Such a beautiful family, and right. I feel that we have created such a beautiful relationship throughout the process. And as you say, like, you know, follow up throughout all those 18 months, and being patient with them. Like, when they came to me back 2 years ago, they wanted to rent, and because of course they were moving from California, and they needed a time to get to know Miami. And instead of me pushing them into buying something at that moment, I opened the space for them to make the decision that very suit them at that time. And at the end, you know, when the time was right, I was there for them. And we made it happen. We were looking for houses for like 2 months, sending so many offers, very competitive market, very competitive area. And we did it. And they are very happy. They are renovating their house, and the house has exactly what they needed and what they wanted.
So let's jam Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for the big check too. It's always nice getting a nice referral check in the mail. So I I
That was
I
an
want
what
to
I have to say.
yeah, no, I want to send you more and make them bigger.
Yes, I'm here.
um
I'm here.
I think what Cody and I were jamming on this in Ojai while we are sitting at our booths, and I think I want to talk because at one point you had a lot of agents on your team. You provided a lot of training. You provided a lot of support. You had a big office. I actually came and did a training with
Yes,
some of your agents. I worked with one of your agents for a while or two. A couple of your agents. One did well. One just
yes.
kind of, was going to be what he was going to be. But the other one, she just needed that little bit of a catalyst, and now she's out there crushing it, right? Um,
But what?
why in your opinion, why shouldn't people start teams?
Well, the first question I will ask people, and even if I have to start myself, I will ask myself why I'm starting a team. It's very common for us to go and replicate what other people are doing just because we go into a conference and then we see
Uh-huh.
people say, "Oh, I sold 100
Yeah.
houses, I sold 200 houses," but they don't know what it goes behind for you to be able to have a high producing team.
Right.
Also, when we are team leaders, and that happened to myself, something that I didn't know maybe when I started my company back 10 years ago was the importance of having minimum standards. And that's something that
Mm,
I'm able to teach my coaching clients, because when I hire somebody to be part of my company or my team, just because they saw me on Instagram, like most of my agents, they came to me. Like I wasn't never a recruiter. People
right.
came to me. I have the ability to attract people. So of course, depending on the energy that you are vibrating, you will attract different people. And that's also
Right.
something that I was able to learn throughout the years and understand that Mel Robbins said it so beautifully. She said, people come to our life for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. The moment that we start changing, we start evolving, those people that came to us on board at that time, we are not in alignment anymore. And that's okay. Like, it's no, like, there's no reason to be hard feeling or anything like that. It's just number one, understanding, okay, I want to open a company. I want to open a team. Why? What is the
Right.
reason behind? It's just because I wanted to make more money through others. It's because I wanted to be able to support others. It's because I want to help others to grow. It is impossible for us to grow by ourselves. We will always need people. We will always need that support
Right.
system. So now for me, I have my full staff. Like I don't have any agents anymore, but I have my full. I wouldn't have a business without my support staff because they run my business. Now that I'm here in Italy, I partnered with an agent in Miami who's a very good friend of mine, and he's gonna like be my foot on the ground in Miami. But hello, like I'm working the whole day here in Italy. I
Right.
wake up in the morning, I go and do my version of these new rules that I'm trying to create and to develop and to understand who am I today? What is it that I want? What is it that I want beside being a real estate agent, beside being a real estate broker, beside being a team leader, beside being a coach?
Yeah.
So of course that takes time and also a lot of courage because like hello, like I have a beautiful life in Miami, but something was calling me here, and I am so grateful that I have the
Well,
opportunity
you did
to
it.
come and
Yeah.
to chase my dreams. So number one, define why are you doing it, and by far, let's just be very clear on what are the minimum standards that we are going to require to those people that we are going to bring on board. So that way we can create, and as you will say out of camera before, like, what is the onboarding process that we have? Those minimum standards are in alignment with that onboarding?
Well, I want to open this question up to you, Cody. I'm going to do a little
Yeah.
moderating today. So in your world, right? Because Cody, you had a lot of staff back in 2022, a huge, depending on for real estate, it was a huge company. For the world of SaaS, maybe it's not, but for real estate, Cody you had a pretty large company back in 2022. and you had to make some pretty pivotal changes in your structure, and that taught you a lot. What if you could go back and we could talk about these minimum standards, or what I call a scorecard?
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn over the last, let's call it almost 18, 19 months about onboarding team members?
So I think one of the
or maybe 2 years actually now.
Yeah, it's 2 years. And one of the important things that, agents and, team leads need to remember is like something that I learned the hard way, and I hope that I can share this with you, is like boxes, not people. Meaning like, what are the boxes that you need to fill in order to deliver on the promise with client? Like that has been like a really big eye opener for me, is like, number one, before I go, I'd like never go, like for me, I never hire without first now thinking, I'm like, can automation solve this problem? And I think we so often think that we need more people in order to solve a potential problem in the business. Or what happens is we try to solve a problem that isn't even that big of a problem. So it's like we try to often solve the wrong problem. So I think step number one is like figuring out like who it is you actually need in order to accomplish your goals. Like Les was saying, like having an understanding of like, what do you want to accomplish personally? Like, and then working backwards, like you can take, modeling is not a bad thing. You can take things from different people, but when you're modeling something that doesn't align with like where you want to go, I think that's where the issue happens. Now, from an onboarding perspective, I think that
before you go to onboarding though, can you go a little deeper into boxes, not people? Just what do you mean boxes, not people?
Yeah. So what I mean by boxes, not people is that I think a lot of the times we think that there's something's broken in a business, or something's not necessarily working in a business. Immediately we think to ourselves, okay, I need to hire somebody in order to help me fix this. So we bring on people to solve problems that could be solved with like automation, or with like just like a little bit of love from you, or maybe you need to remove that process altogether. So I think that like when you're making an offer to the marketplace, you have it's not necessarily more people that we need. Like we think that oftentimes we need more people in order to grow. That was and I think to a point that's true, but when there's not a designated reason why you're hiring that person, oftentimes it can be automation. It can be, you can just remove the process. It can be looking at things differently and saying, okay, I have this person accomplish this task. I already have a person that can handle that task. And I think that there's a lack of standard operating procedures that we have. And when we have a lack of standard operating procedures, what ends up happening is we don't have clarity, and we think we need a person to fill the box, when it's actually the box can just be filled through a system.
That's so powerful, because in the world that we live in now, right? Like I had this, I'm possibly bringing on this like 19-year-old from Pakistan to be a setter for me, a DM setter. And he's like, bro, why do you do all these things? And I'm like, it's just how I've always done them. Like, I don't know any different. And he's like, bro, once we get up and running, I made a flow chart for you, like a Miro flow chart. Like I mind mapped this out. He's like, we could do this, we could do that. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, this is crazy. Like, and just watch, like living with you for the last year on and off, the automation game has changed. And, yesterday my older brother was talking to my dad, and he's like, hey, why don't you pop in this thing that you're trying to work on and just ask ChatGPT to make like a business plan. Yeah. And he's like, okay, so a business plan spits out in 45 seconds, which would have taken us hours and hours in the past. So
created it.
We don't need to always bring in people, but what we do need to do, and it's what I hear resonating from both of you, is we need to slow down to speed up. And if we slow down, right? Like if we slow down, it's like, okay, I'm at this event, and this is a problem with going to events with people that have never done what we're doing, right? Like this is why it's important to get outside of your industry, but it's also important to be inside of your industry. Oh, I just got a thumbs up for myself on the screen. Yeah, that's awesome.
I saw that.
Like I call it industry incest. And what happens is that we only want to hang out. Like one of the questions that when clients come to me is, oh, how many people are you working with in real estate? And I'm like, a better question to be asked is, how many industries have you been successful in outside of real estate? And how do you transfer those skills back into real estate so that I don't sound like every monkey that says the same crap from the same stage?
True. 100%.
So if you were getting back, Luz, if you're getting back into the team building space, or if you were advising somebody on the team building space, right? And let's say they already have a team, they have 7 or 8, just like you, right? They're out there, they're doing their thing, they're making money, they're successful, they have a good vibe, good energy. What would you say to that human being that says, oh my God, I have 4 people on my team now. I don't know how they got here, but they said, I want to work with you. So I said, of course, of course, of course, of course. And now they're asking me all day long, hey, what do I do here? Hey, what do I do here? Hey, what do I do here? And now my business is tanking because I'm answering these, quote unquote, not my words, these idiots questions all day long. And I'm like, well, they're not the idiots. You're the one who said yes to them. So like technically we shouldn't name call those people. We should name call ourselves. But what would you say to that person who's like, I just want to throw it all away before they throw it away?
Oh my God, that's so funny. And I absolutely can relate with you. And I can see so many of my coaching clients going through the same process as well. This is what I will say, even to myself. If I have to go back to build a team, I will be very clear on what are the qualifications that I'm looking from those agents that I'm going to bring on board. I will absolutely create an onboarding process where they have to get certain amount of a scorecard, as you call it, or points, or however you want to call it. But for me to have the clarity that they already went to all my training before they having the opportunity and to come and ask me a question, because this is what happened to me and happened to a lot of people, that we bring someone on board. Yeah, we might or might not have an onboarding process, but then there is not a follow-up system to make sure that agent went to the process. So we will have to have someone in between us, because that's exactly what happened. That if it's me answering those questions over and over again, what is going to happen with my own business is going to sink. Because now the time that I need to be prospecting, to be calling my clients, to be going on appointments, I need to use it on answering those questions. Or something that happened to me, like when I started traveling after COVID, my agent started complaining about my travels. And I was like, well, like, yeah.
They started complaining about your traveling?
Yeah. And I go like, but what? That's not your problem. I travel whenever I want. Like, I'm not your employee. Like, I make my own money and I do whatever I want with my own money. Like, you are independent contractor, you do you and I do me. But when you have people that they don't produce anything, and then one day they have somebody that is thinking about transacting on real estate, now they want you to stop your life and just be there for that.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. At least for me, it doesn't work like that. So what would I recommend? Number one, be really clear on what is the avatar that you're looking on those agents. Be very clear that you have a very structured system where they have to, before they come in to talk to me, they have to go to the process. What are the trainings? What are if they're going to be calling clients? How many hours are they prospecting? How many calls do they make? What is it that they do with their time? Because it's very easy not to even think about the answer. It's just go and ask you and take and suck your time away from it. And that's not fair either. So then, when you have all that structure in place, just put like 90 days probation, I will say, so you can see if that person is in alignment with what you are building. Does that person is responsible? Whatever the values you have.
Right.
Whatever the values you have. And if that person is not, don't hire, as Cody will say, the person or the box. Sometimes we hire I need more agents.
Right.
So what are the qualifications that I need for those agents? Is this person really has those qualifications, he
Yeah.
has the drive, the desire, and the ambition to go and do the things that they are supposed to do. Something that I said all the time to my agents, I cannot force you to do anything you don't want to do.
Right.
Do you want to be successful? Yes or no? It's your decision. I'm here to tell you everything I learned. I'm here to tell you everything I know.
Right.
I'm here to lay out everything you need. But at the end, do you want it? And how bad do you want it?
Exactly.
Because I want it. And really bad.
Yeah.
That's why I can be here now.
And it's really interesting that what you said there about like, you know, finding the qualification process of like how you actually onboard people matters, and the expectations that you set for them, and the training and the guidance. Like, and I think that every successful client that you onboard, every successful agent, ISA that you onboard, all starts with how you onboard them. Like, do you give them all the expectations up front so they know what's expected from them? Because if they don't know what's expected from them, if they don't have a job description, if they don't have these expectations, it's hard for them to just make this stuff up. And Vic, I want to lean on you really quickly, and I want to hear from you as well.
Lean on me.
I want to lean on you because you had, when you were in Seattle selling real estate, you had a totally different take to the space, which is like, you know, if I were to hop into like a local market and, well, you know, set up shop, I'd probably take a very similar approach to you, where it's like, hey, you want to be a real estate agent with me? You need to be an ISA first. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you kind of did that, and like why you would recommend starting them as an ISA first prior to send them as an agent?
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you brought it up, because real estate's the only business where people come in thinking they're going to be a real estate agent on day one. Right? Like when I've owned an Osteo Strong, a wellness center. The girl that just started a month ago, I think she should be fired, but that's a different story. I'd fire her immediately, but she's an apprentice. She's in training mode, right? So she's got a 60-day apprenticeship mode to train. What do you do if you want to go work for like Northwestern Mutual, right? Which sells like annuities and like life insurance and all that stuff. You have to be an apprentice, and then you become a junior associate, right? And then you become a little bit more of an upgraded associate, and this and this. Real estate's the only place where people come in, and that I've been in, right? Even when I owned Verizon stores, the guy came in and he's like, bro, can I shadow you? The manager that worked in the cell phone industry for 7 years that I hired still came in. And wow, this is amazing. If you guys are not watching this, like there are fireworks popping off in the background. My hands are magical. Like there is freaking fireworks coming out of my fingers right now on Zoom.
Don't worry. I'll teach you how to shut that off once you come back to Medellin.
No. We're keeping it on.
I love it.
These things just pop off like without any idea. So he's shadowed me for 30 days because he's like, I want to know how you do it. And then I want to give you my feedback on what we could do to improve your system, merge our systems, integrate our skills. But in real estate, team leads, because they don't have a system and a process, they just expect, like my favorite line that I hear people say that have small teams is, well, I just want experienced agents. I said, so why would an experienced agent come to you? Like, what do you offer that's so great? And they're like, well, our culture. I'm like, they don't need your culture. They have money. They can make their own culture. They can buy culture if they have money. Like when you have money, you can buy culture. It's called going to cool places. And they're like, oh shit. I'm like, what's your value add? I don't know. Yeah. Well, why would a new agent come to you? Well, they want your lifestyle. So what do you provide for them? Well, I don't have anything. Why not? Because I don't want to put the time in. So if we start thinking that everybody that comes to us, whether they're crushing 20 deals a year or they're doing 0, they're an apprentice in our company. It goes right back to what I said at the beginning of the conversation. What do teams need? They need appointments with agents. What do agents need? They need appointments with buyer and sellers. The only reason why an agent's going to come to you is because you either provide a ton of support and systems for their deals that they don't want to anymore pay like a transaction coordinator, or they're going to come to you because they need the training on how to book more appointments. So if everybody comes in as an apprentice in your company, and maybe the apprenticeship is 2 weeks, maybe it's 6 months, right? But the first step is, can you fill your own calendar?
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's leads that the company's generated, but if you can't convert an open house lead, you're not going to convert a cold lead, right? So if you can't even have a conversation, like I built my business with people I didn't know because I didn't know anybody in Seattle. I moved there from my ex-wife. I lived there for a year, sold a bunch of knives, made a bunch of money, saved up, got into real estate. Most people do it the opposite way. So if you think about your company that there's an apprenticeship model, then it goes from an apprentice who's brand new is setting appointments for other agents. They then get to work that deal with the other agent. So if it's a listing, they get to shadow the open house. If it's a buyer, they get to shadow the buyer's showing process, right? The agent showing process. They get to be there when they write offers, right? They get to be there with the other person as an apprentice. So the first step is you have that. Then the second step is they become a showing agent, because you might not know this, Cody, but a lot of agents actually don't know how to schedule a day effectively. So they show a house over here in Malibu, then they go to Pacific Palisades. That's a 3-hour drive, right? And then they come back and they're back up in Malibu. Like, I drove so much today. I'm like, no, you wasted a shit ton of time, bro. Like, why would you go Palace? Like, well, that's what they want to do. But what makes sense for you? Like, hey guys, I'm going to be in the Palisades today at 12. Is it possible that we can see the house around 11 or at 1? No. Okay, hold on. What time could work for you? 4. Let me call the other people and see if they can come around 3 or 5, because that makes more sense. But agents get so fearful because they don't have any systems, processes, and skills that they end up just bending over backwards. And then they're like, oh, these people are killing me. I'm like, no, you're an idiot.
Exactly.
Please stop doing that shit. Like I was able to carve my client, when agents come to us, we take this big ass like time frame and we shave it down to where they're so effective with their day, they actually have time to be home with their kids. So apprenticeship models, not you're an agent. And then if they don't last after 60 days, bro, isn't it great that they go through your training? Like, Les, isn't it great they went through your training and they're like, this is too much for me. You're like, okay, cool. I love you. High five, hugs. I'll see you at coffee.
Yeah, and ciao.
Ciao. And you're so much happier instead of like 6 months later, they're like, you suck. I hate you. I want a bigger split. I want more money.
It's crazy. Something that I want to piggyback on something that you said. Like, a lot of agents come into the real estate market because they want to have the lifestyle that they see some people might have on Instagram. But of course, they don't know what that person have needed to do in order to have like that lifestyle. Like, so that's why I go back to the why. Okay, do you want to be a real estate agent? Why? Why do you want to do that? And what are you willing to do in order to be a successful real estate agent? Because even giving all the support that you are saying, even having them go to that process of apprentice, they might not even know what to say. And I remember I used to tell my agents, one of my agents used to say, I don't understand why you said that I'm unable to sell over $1 million house. And I go like, well, because you don't have the talk, you don't have the presence, you don't have the glamour. So everything goes hand in hand. If you are in another market, maybe, but in Miami, as soon as I walk into an appointment, the first thing people look is at my car. So everything has to be in correlation. What I say, the way I dress, the way I carry myself, everything has to make sense. So then when I get a client like your client said to me one of the days, he was like, they were in an open house, and then I went to the open house. And then when I got into the open house, it was raining, so I needed to take off my shoes. And then he said to me that all the edges were like, oh my God, look at her, like, look at those shoes, look at the car. And then he said, well, she's my agent. Next time she's coming in her own helicopter. And I go like, oh my God, you are so hilarious. It doesn't matter all the training that someone else provide to you. What matters is how bad do you want it, so that way you can really stamp all that training inside yourself and you can get the confidence, because this is all about confidence. The only way that we are successful in real estate is by knowing exactly what we're saying. Some people might be successful, but not on the long run. And on the other hand, when people are really into, like I remember I had one of my agents, he was always my best agent. It didn't matter what I asked that agent to do. He will put the work all the time. And until the last day, he was my best agent because he was putting into the work every time. It didn't matter what crazy idea I came with. I was like, hey, what if we do that? Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's do it. And
success leaves clues.
Exactly.
Success leaves clues.
Yes.
I would love to jam more, but we have got to wrap this up like a Snickers bar. If people were to want to find you, where would you recommend them going if they want to learn about what you're doing, or if they have?
My Instagram is Luz, Luz, as in Victor, Abreu, Abreu. And yeah, I will say that's the easiest way to get to me.
Well, this was a ton of fun. Appreciate, you giving us so much insight into, what has made you super successful in the Miami market. And I want to say thank you for tuning into another episode of the RE Agent Podcast. We'll see you soon.